I was pulling together an outfit for today's video because I like to coordinate sometimes what I'm wearing with what I'm talking about, but I realized that as much as I love this franchise, I have zero Castlevania clothes, so I combed through my closet, tried to find something that would fit the theme, and I settled on Snoop Dogg. Hello world of YouTube and welcome to another episode of Tier Time, my tier list based show where I get real niche with it. And what better time of year to bring this back than Halloween season? You guys know I love this time of year. I'm always ranting and raving about this time of year. And I dropped the Castlevania finale yesterday. I streamed Symphony of the Night yesterday. While I've been in Resident Evil and Metroid Fever, I'm indulging in my Castlevania because I didn't do any Castlevania last year, so I'm making up for lost time. And what better way to get niche with it than to rank all of the sub-weapons in Castlevania based on effectiveness, point, purpose, across games. Because a lot of these end up in across the board. Some are game-specific. There's a whole game in here in general, in tandem with the sub-weapon from it. So I got a lot to go down, and I tried my best to kind of narrow down what qualifies and doesn't qualify for sub-weapons and stuff like that. So if there's something that you wish I included, let me know in the comments down below. But I'm pretty happy with this well-rounded list of sub-weapons, and I'm going to be going from top left around the bend with some interjecting in the middle that I forgot to add, because I tried to keep it in chronological order from when they were added in the series, all that sort of stuff, to some degree. You know what I mean? But I figured what better place to start than with the all-star of my Castlevania playthrough, Holy Water. A sub-weapon that I have gone the full gambit with as far as appreciation. I used to hate the Holy Water. I thought it was really dumb. In most of the games, I feel like it is dumb, because in like Castlevania 64, I feel like I used it, but not quite as much as like even the Dagger or the Axe especially. I do still love the Holy Water. I do remember using it in all of my playthroughs at this point that I posted on the internet. Now Dagger, poor Dagger. I hate the Dagger. I love the Dagger in Ghouls and Ghosts. I think it's great in that game. But no matter what game, even Lords of Shadow, a game that like the Dagger should feel good in, they suck in Lords of Shadow. I don't like the Daggers whatsoever. I feel like they are the one of the worst sub-weapons in the game, hands down. And I feel bad for them. They're the least useful out of the first game, because the stopwatch is the other sub-weapon from the first game, and the stopwatch is great. The Dagger just sucks. And it's my thing's gonna reflect that. I'm putting this in the E tier, if only because it can do damage. So that's nice. That's helpful. It's not one particular sub-weapon that is completely fucking useless. Outside of the one use it has, it's just a filler spot. But I'll get to that in a minute. Stopwatch. As a child, stopwatch is a godsend, because it stops at most things. It just becomes less effective the deeper in the game you go. It's like a pocket easy mode. It drains the fuck out of your hearts, but it's great. It's a great item. I really love the stopwatch. I think it's a really good item. I think its degrading usefulness throughout the game makes it less valuable. But like, especially for beginners, like here's the thing. People talk about Castlevania being hard, but if you get the stopwatch in any game that it's there, Bloodlines, another great example, it's not a bad item. It helps you learn the game a little better. It's how I feel like I learned a lot of my favorite Castlevanias, was the stopwatch, because it just put everything on pause for a second, but I could like explore. It's good for finding chicken walls. If you have a wonder if there's a chicken wall nearby, you can pause the screen and just go look for the chicken wall. You know what I mean? It's a very useful item. I don't like it as much as the Axe or the Holy Water personally. I feel like it's waning effectiveness, and the fact that I just don't need it anymore makes it useless to me. But I feel like as an asset it's as a teaching tool, it's a very useful sub-weapon. You know, I feel like it's as useful as the cross, personally. Like, the cross, in tandem with this, in tandem with the stopwatch, those are two really good teaching tools in general. You know, because the cross hits in front of you, but it acts as a good shield to hit behind you. You know, there's another weapon that I like about as much as the cross, if not a little more, because it's a little more of an effective cross, but I'll get to that. I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. But that's the sub-weapons for Castlevania 1. You know, I feel like the first Castlevania, they got it right with a lot of the sub-weapons, and the dagger's there for sadists. You know, but in Castlevania 2, they also added a couple of things. One of them being, like, another holy water in the form of, like, Simon's wall flame tower. You know, the only difference is that its summon range is different than the water, than the holy waters, which is great. That's another reason why I like the holy water, because it has, like, its own defined range. You know, it's close, but it's not, like, right in front of you. And I felt like the wall of fire is just not as effective to me. It's similar to another sub-weapon that I'll talk about here in a few minutes, but I feel like this one's a worse version of that. And it's just, it's one of those sub-weapons that I feel like is helpful, but also in a way that's not, you know. So I'm going to put this in the D tier, because it's not as useless as the dagger, but I really don't like it that much. I really don't. Like, I feel like the wall of flame is I don't know, I could use holy water. The next one is the Ricochet Rock, the diamond, which has popped up in a handful of games. It's actually kind of a common item. In Castlevania, you just throw it and it bounces around. Now, I feel like the Ricochet Rock is actually a really good weapon. I feel like it comes in handy more often than not in a lot of games, especially in the Metroidvanias. They're good at helping kind of find nooks and crannies in a room. You know, I feel like they do actually have usefulness that transcends just a weapon. It's similar to the stopwatch in that regard, is that it kind of helps you learn areas, you know. I feel like as a weapon, it's less effective. Like, in a small room, it works in a pinch, because it'll just scatter shit everywhere. But if I've got the holy water, the axe, or even the cross, I feel better. Like, I feel more better than I do with the Ricochet Rock, you know what I mean? I think it's helpful, but also not. So I'm gonna put it in the B tier, because it is helpful in a way that the stopwatch is. But I'd much rather have these three, and it's definitely better than the Wall of Fire, especially in other games. Like, I feel like it has more use than the Wall of Fire ever could. And that's Castlevania 2, and then Castlevania 3. Everyone kind of has the same thing. I'm not going to put Alucard's abilities in here, if only because I feel like those abilities transcend just a sub-weapon, you know what I mean? But in the case of Sephia's spells, I feel like they take the place of her sub-weapons in Castlevania 3 in a way that makes them feel more like sub-weapons. But she's got her own fire joint, where she just kind of attacks in like a fire hit. And I think it's effective. It's sort of like an extended stab, I feel like. But it's pretty effective. I'm putting it in the C tier. You know, I feel like it's not my favorite spell of hers, but it works. You know, it's better than the Wall of Fire. That's for damn sure, but not much better. You know, again, if I'm going to play a Sephia, I'd much rather have her Lightning Strike or her Ice ability. And her Ice ability, I feel like it's similar to Ricochet Rock in some regards in how it spreads. But it feels more focused. It feels more harnessed. And it works really well, I feel like, in certain circumstances, obviously. But I like the Ice, honestly. I think that it's good. You know, I think it's a good defensive attack move, similarly to the Cross, honestly. Like, it's a pretty good item, honestly. I'm putting it in the A tier because I actually really like the Ice ability a decent amount in Sepia, you know, in Sephia's run. And then her other item, the Lightning Bolt, or the Lightning Ball, just shoots lightning and you know, shoots lightning around, which is also really effective. I feel like it's less effective than the Ice personally, but it has its use. It has uses that are really good. You know, it's a cool effect as well. You know, I dig the spell. I think it's good. I like it for the same reasons I would say the Ricochet Rock. Now I put Bloodlines here before the Rana of Blood stuff, even though I'm pretty sure Rana of Blood came out before Bloodlines, because these kind of bleed into Symphony of the Night pretty heavily. So in some degree, so I just want to kind of lump those together. But we're gonna start with not the game exclusive ones. Not the reason why the game box is here. We're actually gonna start with the Boomerang, which is it's like an adaptation on the Cross, but it's got like a bit of axe in there. Especially when you upgrade it, it has like this like arcing tri attack that kind of feels like the Lightning Ball. It's really good. Like, I actually really like the Boomerang from Bloodlines. I think it's a great sub weapon. I actually like it more than obviously the dagger, but I like it more than the axe in some of the levels of that game because of just how it operates, you know what I mean? But I really like the boomerang. I think especially upgraded against bosses, it helps out a lot. I think it's a good sub weapon, and I'm putting it in the A column personally. Now the box art are the upgrades. So whenever you upgrade your spear or your whip in that game, when you max it out, not only is your attack stronger, but you have a special sub weapon, and it's like a screen clear, big damage move. It can like kneecap bosses in an instant. It's easily like the most effective sub weapon in all of Castlevania because it's just Genesis screen clear attack a la Streets of Rage. Like, it's just a big, bold, dumb move that uses a bunch of hearts. So it's going in the S tier. It's one of my favorite things in that game. Like, to just dig around if I'm playing well enough to keep my sub weapon. Because the thing is, you keep the sub weapon until you get damaged, and then you don't get it anymore. So it feels like rewarding to get to the boss, having not been hit after fully upgrading your weapon, and then just unloading on the fucking boss and just killing it so fast. It's great. Like, it's so great to have in the game, and it's just hilarious. I love it as much as I love the axe, and it's just as broken as the holy water can be sometimes. Now for this column. This column here. This is kind of the Rondo of Blood Symphony of the Night tier. But before we get into that, because I'll get to the Bible in a second, we're gonna talk about the key. The key. This isn't the picture of the key from Rondo of Blood, but it is the key nonetheless. The dumbest sub weapon. It only has one use. F. Now, as for the Bible, not the book itself. No, this isn't. We're gonna turn into like a religious cast. The weapon in Castlevania. It's good. It's like a better cross. It like whips around you in like a figure 8 infinity pattern. In other games, it like just has the screen clear like big ass move, similarly to the cross move that I'll get to in a minute. But it's a good sub weapon. I think that the Bible as a sub weapon in Castlevania is it's a good time. If I know the circumstances, or if I can remember the circumstances, I prefer it over holy water or the axe, honestly. Like, I feel like it can be useful. It has its purpose in the game. So I'm going to put it in the S tier. Now we're going to go to Maria's animals. Maria's animal friends. Her summons that she has. They all do different things. And they all have their own ranges of effectiveness. So we're going to start with the bird here, which is called Suzaku, and they kind of fly around in like an arc, and again they have a purpose, similarly to like the axe and the cross. It's like a hybrid of those two, similarly to the boomerang actually, but I feel like is about as effective as the boomerang in circumstances where it works. The Suzaku really helps in like good vertical areas. It's a good sort of attack. It can be situational at times. I'm gonna put it with the lightning ball and the diamond in the B tier. Speaking of the cat, though, we have a cat that's basically like a low swinging dagger. Like, it just hits the floor, which in some games is helpful, because in some games you've got ground enemies or like Fleeman, which like daggers against Fleeman, whatever, but like the cat against Fleeman, bro, that's sick. That's a fight I want to see. I want to see a cat tear through a Fleeman. Sign me up for that. So I do like the cat. I like it more than the dagger. I'm just saying, like, as a concept, it's just a low-flying dagger. But the fact that it's low-flying, and the fact that it's a cat, make it better, honestly. I'm going to put it in the C tier. I know I was saying in some situations I like the cat more than Suzaku, but, like, Suzaku's vert, man, that can really come in handy. After that, we do have the dragon, which is just a better cat. It's a cat that flies out. I think it's maybe Marie's best item or best weapon. I think that it's really effective. It's just a big... Again, it's what separates... It's like evolving the dagger. You know, again, the dagger is just a foundation for like a handful of these to rise upon, but they rise upon it so well. I really like the dragon. I'm going to put it in the A tier. It's mad effective, you know what I mean? And then after that, we have the turtle, which the turtle's fine. I'm not like a die-hard ride or die for the turtle. Obviously, it's a good free shield. You know, you don't get hit. That's cool. But, like, you know, I'd rather just push forward. You know, there's a reason why I don't really like Simon's fire move. You know what I mean? Why I think Cepheus is a little bit better. The turtle's fine. It's a shield. You know, it helps. But, again, I'd rather just do damage. So I'm going to put it in the D tier. And then from there, we have a couple of Symphony of the Night exclusive sub-weapons. The first one is called Agunia Lightning. It's a lightning bolt that like shoots out and it does like damage, and it's a cool move, honestly. Like, it's really showy, but like I don't mind the showiness of it. It kind of fits the character that is Symphony of the Night. It's like a game from the mid 90s on the PlayStation. It's gonna have showiness like that, and I'm fine with that. I like it a lot. I think it's a really fun cinematic weapon. Would I rather have the cross over it? Potentially. The boomerang? Absolutely. The stopwatch? Any day of the week if I'm like new to the game. But it's a fun, showy weapon. You know, I think it's a fun move. I've noticed I'm putting all the lightning stuff a lot. I put 2 lightning items in this tier. It's not intentional. I like it about as much as the lightning ball. You know, honestly. It's a cool move. It's not the worst, but it's not the best. The worst sub-weapon in Symphony of the Night, though, is absolutely Vibhuti. You're just throwing ash. It's like a dumb move. I don't like it. It's about as useless as the key. It's the worst sub-weapon in Castlevania if we're talking like actual weapons. You know, I feel like they call it the Rebound Stone, but it's basically the Ricochet Rock. You know, it's the same thing. I got it on stream and I was like, "What's this?" Oh yeah, it's this stupid move, and I immediately replaced it again. Yeah, I think it's dumb. Going from there, these are kind of the last 4 kind of odds and ends. The bomb, it's a big boom. You know, it works. It's effective. I don't think it's not my favorite sub weapon. But it's not like the dagger. It's not Vibhuti. You know, I like it about as much as the cat. It's situational at times, but I think the situations where it works, it's effective. The Grand Cross, which is like a big move that like Richter has, Julian has, Donisaro. Like, it's honestly it's a cinematic move similar to the lightning from Symphony of the Night, but I feel like because of its clearance, because it like shoots up and kind of out because it's bigger than you, I feel like it's pretty effective. It's a pretty good move at like clearing rooms in the games that it's in Aria of Sorrow, in Dawn of Sorrow, all that sort of stuff. So I'm gonna put it in the A tier. I think it's really effective. I think it's about as effective as the cross, honestly. It's 2 crosses. They both kind of work differently, but they work in similar ways. And then the Javelin, it's another dagger. Like, it's I don't care about the Javelin. Get the fuck out of here. And then the last one that I'm going to talk about is the fairies from Lords of Shadow, which I don't know if I've actually used. I feel like I might have. If I do, if they are what I think they are, I know that they just kind of, I was reading up on them, they just fly out and then like explode. But I have not, I don't remember them enough to put them in good conscience super high. I feel like they were better than the daggers, because the daggers in Lords of Shadow are the fucking worst. But that's it. That's my tier list. What'd you think about it? How would you rank the sub-weapons in Castlevania? Let me know in the comments down below. Did you like this? Happy Halloween times. Thank you for joining me in this niche adventure. What's your favorite Castlevania game? Just talk about Castlevania in the comments down below. If you liked this episode of Tier Time, be sure to give it a like. If you want to see more of my music, gaming, and general nerdery content, be sure to subscribe. Special thanks to my patrons. If you want to join the ranks to get early access to content, exclusive content, or to help drive the community through polls, it's linked in the description. I'm going to get out of here, though. Thank you again so very much for watching. I have been Viral Rack. You guys have good days, lives, and situations, and I'll see you another day.